What the Nationals leader said, though, was the coalition shouldn't take international students away from the region. So there's one area where it wouldn't come down, and indeed to reinstate the ag visa. So that's, if you think of those two, big levers in sort of who comes into the region, that's not going to mean fewer people. Won't that mean more overall?
Well, I didn't take the comments to say no students would be cut from the regions, and I think we do need to scale back on international students everywhere. That's my view. But far too many have come in. That's been the major growth that we've seen, where our net overseas migration has gone from
too many students in the regions. You think some of them that the unis would be okay with?
Well, I think it has to come down. I think it has to come down across the board. I think they should be concentrated in the cities, obviously, where most of the students go. That makes sense. But we need to cut back on international students across the board. There's been too many come in. I think Blind Freddie can see that. And as I say, now I do welcome the government finally waking up on this issue. But, can they really be trusted to do this now? They've lost control of our border over the past couple of years. I do think what Peter's suggesting here with the permanent migration is also important, because we need to cut back the flow of people staying here. As I say, we've just got to prioritise Australians right now. That's the number one priority for any Australian government, should be at least.
We'll see where it lands. Everyone says the detail matters on, sort of where are people coming, who's not coming perhaps, and so on. I wanted to ask you about the main thing the coalition's opposing out of the budget, tax credits for mining. It'd be a big boost for Queensland, and it's not a handout, it's tax credits that will help processing and more jobs in Australia. Sounds like the sort of thing. If someone sort of explained that policy to me, I'd go, gee, Matt Canavan would like that. What do you think of it?
I'm 100% against it, Tom. Our mining industry brings home the bacon for the country. It doesn't need to have a begging bowl out. And I think the mining industry puts itself in a very vulnerable position if it's having to rely on government handouts to survive. There's no need for it to have to resort to this measures. The only reason that some in the mining industry have backed this proposal is because of the anti-competitive, anti-business, anti-investment approaches of this government. This government has massively changed industrial relations laws, making it very hard.
But these are about more processing. So mining goes well in the country.
This government,
but we just don't process.
Well, I don't believe in government handouts.
Sovereignty as well.
The solution here, Tom, is to have a government that's pro-business. Well, sure, but I don't. They are handouts, right? Obviously, okay. One person's tax credit's another person's handout. It still costs the budget. It still means that the rest of us have to pay more taxes, because we're clearly borrowing billions and billions of dollars over the next 10 years, hundreds of billions of dollars. That burden has to be borne by different people across our economy. And obviously, if we lower taxes on one group,
the difference
that
of those
means
credits,
other
though,
groups
is
have
they're
to pay
only
more.
flowing once more processing is happening. There wouldn't necessarily be a net cost to the budget, a big one or much of one at all, because you're doing new economic activity.
Well, that sounds a bit like Reagan economics to me, Tom. Why don't we cut taxes on everybody then? By that rationale. Why don't we cut taxes everywhere across the board? Then we'll have a bigger economy and we'll be able to pay us all back. I don't think that's a sustainable approach here to some of these industries. What we're doing here is trying to prop up sectors that have been made uncompetitive by poor government policies. The better strategy here is to lower the red tape, get rid of the regulations, make sure we go back to an industrial relations systems that we had for 20 or 30 years since the time of Keating. And most of all, Tom, invest in proper energy sources. We are losing. One of the reasons we're doing these tax credits is because
AMO warning today, just in 20 seconds, on potential blackouts.
Well, we've known this for some time. We need to invest in reliable power systems, and that means not just gas. We should be investing in coal as well. It's still 60% of our electricity supply, and as we shut down coal, the lights are going out. So we need to invest in that too.